Schools have long been an issue of concern for UAE parents.
Questions over the quality of education, mandatory deposits to reserve a child's place, and the rising cost of education have all made headlines.
In fact, a recent report showed that some of Dubai's secondary schools cost more than Oxford and Cambridge University.
The sheer volume of schools can be intimidating as well, with Dubai thought to have 148 private schools and Abu Dhabi home to 180.
So how can you decide what's best for your child? Well, SuqAlmal.com has recently released the UAE School Guide, which compiles and organizes all of the Emirates schools.
It's also conducted a school survey with 850 parents across the country. Well, here to tell us more is Ambareen Musa, the founder and CEO of SuqAlmal.com. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us again. So looking at this survey, what made you decide to take the step, I guess?
Well, the education sector is a bit of a perfect fit for SuqAlmal.com. Reason being, it's a very important life decision. We all need it, exactly like financial products. And there's a whole broad range of offerings in the market. And we do strongly believe there's a lack of transparency. It's actually very tough. You will hear a lot of parents saying, I don't even know where to start. And a lot of the audience here in the UAE are all expatriates, so used to certain education system back home, which is not necessarily the same here, and you have a whole broad of curriculum you can choose from. So the lack of transparency really brought us to bring the guide up and the comparison of schools.
I mean, we were having a look at the new area of the website a little bit earlier today. It's certainly a very comprehensive guide, everything from what type of curriculum to whether extracurricular activities are charged for or not. So talk me through some of the features. What can parents find out?
Yeah, so what we've done is we've worked with the authorities, and also we've talked to a lot of parents to really ask, what are the things you look out for? What is important to you? What are the criteria you need to look at when you choose a school for your child? And what we've done for both schools and nurseries, we've come up with 8 different criteria mainly, starting from the fees, to the teachers to kids ratio, to the extracurricular activities. Do you have to pay for them? Do you have not to pay for them? Are they free and part of the fees you pay on a monthly basis? What's the registration fee? What is the medical fee that you've got to go through? And we've also gone down for the nursery to talk about a lot of working moms, and a growing number of working moms in the UAE need childcare during the day. With a 45 days maternity leave in the UAE, a lot of moms need to send their babies 3 months, even earlier than 3 months. Now, not all nurseries provide that. So we even have on the site, which nurseries can I send my child to if she's going to be less than 3 months old? I think the one very important part is, and we're encouraging parents to do that, is to share their experience that they've had with the schools and nurseries online. It is really a platform to bring all the parents together and talk about the experience they're having as well. So we do allow parents to put reviews on the website for each and every school and every nursery.
I wanted to touch on that, the parent interaction you've had, the parents you have spoken to. I mean, were there any particular issues that stuck out in your mind, maybe that you didn't expect to hear, things that parents were struggling with when it came to the schooling system here?
Nothing really surprising. The 3 main issues were basically the waiting list, which is very highly talked about in the UAE. The waiting list, the fees, and the lack of information really were the 3 top main kind of criteria that came out, which was a bit of an issue. Now, talking about the fees, like you just mentioned, Haiti, higher than education in the UK, quite surprising. I mean, the fees in the UAE can go up to 90,000 dirhams a year. And that's not to forget the additional school buses that you've got to add, the meals that you've got to add, and the famous 500 dirhams registration fee you've got to pay that you never actually get back.
And the fact that I think that most people tend to have more than one child as well, I think it really adds up very quickly.
Adds up very quickly. I think if you've got more than one child, however, it becomes a little bit easier because a lot of the schools have priorities for siblings. So that becomes, but if it's your first child, you don't really know the system, you need to go out there and find a school, it can be a very tough job. And we're hoping with this new vertical of SuqAlmal.com we'll be able to put it all together under one roof, when parents can go in and literally view over 200 different schools in the UAE and make a choice.
The KHDA, though, obviously has a ranking system already in place. How do you see, I guess, your school survey working with the KHDA? How do you see it fulfilling maybe a need that the KHDA ranking does not at the moment?
Well, basically, we don't rate or review any of the schools. We've actually worked together with the KHDA, as in they've given us the ratings that they're providing the schools. What we do on the site, we don't rate, but what we do is we gather all the other information that comes together with the school apart from the rating. We do publish the rating of the KHDA and the other authorities, but mainly we put on the website and we structure the information such as you get a holistic point of view about a school, because it's not just about the rating, it's about the location, it's about the fees, it's about the languages, the curriculum. So we've put that all on one website.
I wanted to ask you, I know it covers nurseries and schools, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Sharjah. Any plans to roll it out across the region, for example?
Absolutely. So sukalma.com as a website is rolled across Saudi and Kuwait, mainly around comparison of the financial products, with credit cards, mortgages and personal loans. In the UAE, we've actually increased and diversified into the schools and nurseries. Absolutely, the next step would be to roll schools and nurseries across Saudi and Kuwait.
Oh, it's going to be interesting to see. And just very quickly before we go, I know obviously the sort of big priority, I guess, is schools for a lot of people. You mentioned nurseries as well. How competitive is it for parents today moving into nurseries? What kind of waiting list do we typically see?
A very interesting question, and I'll share with you a very quick story. I have a little 18 months old, and I just went through the process a couple of months ago. And I called one of the good schools, which are very kind of in demand. And the answer I got was, you should have thought about it when you were pregnant. And my little girl is 18 months old. She's not going to go to school for another year and a half. She's at a nursery at the moment. So we're talking about, what we're doing to parents is we're providing this platform where they can plan ahead. And really, as soon as your baby is born, think about it. Go on the site, have a look which ones you want. But you're talking easy about 2 to 3 years.
Which is incredible.
Which is incredible. It's not stressful to be a new mom in a new country, let alone to think about what's going to happen in 4 years' time.
So time to do their homework now.
We hope we've done that for them.
Thank you so much for joining us this
Hopefully.
evening. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.